You might be someone who doesn't think you have these habits or behaviors because you don't identify them as being self-sabotaging or self-destructive, but they could be having an impact on your life. Today, I wanted to go over some ways of identifying our behavior that might fall into the category of self-sabotaging, how you can shift your mindset on it, and then hopefully stop behaviors because we've identified them. Let's get started. Okay, the first sign that you might be self-sabotaging is that you lead with fear. That fear is either A, the first thing that you think about, or it is the core of what you think about. When we lead with fear, or we're constantly in a state of fear, this is like anxiety. We're afraid of what people will think about us. We're afraid of the judgment, either real or perceived. Having anxiety is very normal. Having fear of what people think of you is also very normal. It's when we stop showing up for ourselves, or we allow that to literally cripple us in our ability to do things because we're afraid of what somebody will think or what someone would say. And a lot of times this does stem from real things that have happened in our lives. So someone has said something to us, typically a core person in our lives, like family. This is something related to childhood typically, or it's like friends or people along the way who have made us just question ourselves about things we weren't really thinking about. Sometimes insecurities that we have that weren't really on the forefront of our mind, if someone brings it up, it can make us feel like, other people are going to think that. And that can cause us to not want to show up in a way that might put us in the limelight or in the view of other people if we're afraid of more people judging us in that same way. And we're afraid that we should be doing more of what other people are doing. That's also a way of leading with fear. So that kind of like fear of missing out, or if you see other people potentially in the same lane as you, like they have kind of the same interests or in the same job, or maybe you're the same age, same race, same background, same culture, whatever it is that you feel links the two of you together, and you see them doing something in their life and related to their job or whatever it is, and you feel like you should be doing that too, even if it's not even something that you care about or it wouldn't actually help you, but you cause yourself to feel like you need to drive in that direction. That's also self-sabotaging, because it's almost like showing up in a way that you don't need to. It's inauthentic to yourself, but you feel like you need to keep up with these people, or you need to see what they're doing. And that can lead up to burnout. That can lead to you procrastinating. That can lead to you stopping, focusing on your goals, derailing yourself, delaying your own blessings because you're too worried about what other people are doing. The second sign that you might be self-sabotaging is that you play small. You know you can do more, but you're afraid of doing more. This was something that I definitely did a lot of, because there were people in my life who would attack me when I was just enjoying myself and doing things that I wanted to, but it made them feel insecure. So I started to sort of quietly lead my own life and hope that they didn't notice what I was doing. That is a form of self-sabotaging, because you're limiting yourself. Even if you don't think of it as, like, you wouldn't actually say to yourself, I'm not going to do this because I don't want to be my full potential. I don't want to know how great this could be. No one would actually say that. And so this is why self-sabotaging is kind of like a sneaky, it just sneaks up on you. It's something that you're not necessarily setting out to do. This is why identifying maybe behaviors that you wouldn't necessarily associate with self-sabotaging, why it can help you shift your mindset. So even if you're someone who, like me, you felt like it was better to not get the attention of these people, it doesn't matter. Like, you cannot stop showing up for yourself because you're afraid of what someone else will say, or you're afraid that they're going to be so insecure that it's going to cause them to want to fight with you or stop you. This is when we have to say our boundaries are important. Our mindset is important. Our mental health is important. And if these are strong enough, they can be the foundation that we can build our dreams on. And so we're not worried about how other people feel about us. Third sign that you might be self-sabotaging is that you talk yourself out of better opportunities. Thinking to yourself, oh, this is going well, but it's not going to last. That's for other people, but not for you, because they have, more presence, or more money, better education, or they look a certain way. Whatever it is that you attribute their success to, and you don't feel like you have that, you can end up talking yourself out of opportunities that are perfect for you, your personality, your education level, just your energy, the way that you show up. Somebody wants that. And if you think that you're not good enough because of X, Y, and Z, those are clear ways that you're limiting yourself. It's like turning down the volume of your own life because you're afraid of whatever it means when the success comes. The fourth way that you might be self-sabotaging is that right when things are working out, you stop. I really sat with myself and thought, why do I do this? Or why do I see other people doing this? Like, we will rationalize it. We will literally say it makes sense that we stopped exactly the same things that were working. It is definitely a sign that you are self-sabotaging, because sometimes we're afraid of what could happen. And when you're doing something from a space of curiosity or just enjoyment, and it turns out that that works out really well, that can make you afraid, like you kind of accidentally stumbled into that. And can you maintain that? You also have this fear that just you, then it'll fail and all of that blame is on you. So that is definitely one of the ways that I was stopping myself. And I do see a lot of other women doing the same thing. I mean, men too, but I'm just obviously talking to women. But I feel like sometimes we're made to feel like we should be smaller, quieter, sweeter, less vocal and vibrant. And when we're doing things that bring us out of our shell a lot more than we were expecting to, we can have this sort of freeze mode panic attack and then not want any of it, even if it's great things. Sometimes you're not ready for the good things that are coming for you, the blessings that are coming for you, which is why operating from a space of gratitude is so helpful, because it allows you to almost bring in all of those pieces and lessons that you've learned so that you can show up for yourself fully, which I do have a video on gratitude. So if you want to check that out, definitely do. Fifth way that you might be sabotaging yourself is that you think you have to do it alone. I grew up in a family system in which I did have to do a lot of things by myself. When you are very self-sufficient, you're very independent, a lot of the things that you have achieved in your life came from your hard work alone, you can feel uncomfortable with the idea of someone helping you. As someone who did it myself, I remember when my husband wanted to help me with certain things, it was so foreign to me. It was so foreign that someone is going to actually break this down with me, want to help me, ask questions, and really add to. When you've had people, toxic people in your life who take away and they never add, it is very strange to consider that someone wants to help you. And if you're someone who maybe you are used to only doing things by yourself, it can be very uncomfortable for you to actually ask for help, believe you will receive help, believe that you are worthy of help. These are all things that you have to move through. Like that energy that's stuck in that space of feeling like I can't even ask for help, or when they come to help you, you think that they're trying to play you. Like, these are signs that you have been operating in a space of self-sabotaging and you're not necessarily aware of it. It's also understanding that we're not judging ourselves, that we're identifying some limiting beliefs or behaviors that haven't attributed positively to our lives, and that it is okay to now want to shift that narrative for ourselves. Let's get into the tips and action items, things that you can start literally today in your life that can help you to shift away from the mindset of needing to sabotage yourself, and how you can move forward. First tip that I have is to lean into the unknown. One of the biggest reasons why we self-sabotage is because we're unsure of what's coming next, right? This anxiety of the future and what's going to happen, and am I going to be ready? Am I going to show up right? And maybe if I'm not, then I'll just stop and procrastinate, and then I'll shut it all down, and then I don't have to worry about it, and everybody see me fail, right? So if we lean more into the unknown, and we say, okay, I may not know how many steps ahead, what that's going to look like, but I know right now I'm doing everything that I need to. And I am trusting in myself and my future self that we will do everything we need to for that moment that's to come. When you move with this energy, you allow yourself to be fully present in the now and not be afraid of what's coming tomorrow. The second tip that I would give you is to let your curiosity lead you. It's almost like thinking of it as your inner child. The part of you that is curious about what could happen next, that's excited about what will happen next, that isn't worried about what will happen next. Sometimes you can almost feel the energy of that being different from what you're used to, right? The fear that consumes you, the anxiety that consumes you. And then there's this spark of curiosity and enjoyment of like, what if this really works out? That's the part we need to listen to. Just think of like the most excited you, the space in which you have no worries. Like that is literally how kids think. Sometimes that's what we need to do. We need to stop worrying so much about the planning and the details and just think of what would happen if it all worked out. That curiosity is going to lead you to a better space out of self-sabotaging. Okay, my next tip is to let yourself be supported. Allow yourself to actually ask for help, to trust that the help that is coming is meant for you and that it will help you get forward. You don't have to do everything yourself. There's a lot of us, I see this a lot with women who are very goal-oriented, driven, they have it together. These are the people who struggle the most with being okay with saying I need some help. Or, you know, for me in my own life, there were a lot of people that wanted to dismiss a lot of the things that I had achieved because they wanted to give credit to everybody else, including themselves. Sometimes that can make us feel like if we aren't doing everything 100% ourselves, then we're not allowed to say that it was an achievement or it was a goal. And that is the furthest thing from the truth. It is okay. In fact, it is better for you to have a community, people who want to help you actually achieve the things that you want to, especially because there are so many people who have knowledge or skill sets that we haven't necessarily obtained in our own life. And when you have the ability to say, I'm going to ask someone for help or I'm going to allow someone to help me, you can go so much further. You limit yourself when you say, I have to do everything myself, or that's for them but not for me. But what if it was for you, but you just needed the right people and you just needed the right timing or the right space? Allowing yourself to gain that support, you can see how much further you can actually go. Okay, my last tip, remain teachable. Something that I have learned a lot on my journey is to ask questions and listen to the guidance of people who are further along on the timeline than I am. Sometimes this means age, experiences, that their knowledge is in an area that I've never studied. The point is that when I'm listening to them share their stories, even if it's not even a question I had, but they're just sharing something with me, I try my best to actually listen to what that means for me. How can I absorb that energy into my own life and show up better for myself? And you'll find that there is so many gems that people drop just by sharing information about themselves and their lives. It can help you. Sometimes we feel like we have to, I don't know, it's part of like the human experience where we feel like we have to actually go through something before we learn. You don't. You can, this is why community is so important. You can take the lessons that someone else has learned in their journey and then apply them to your life. You feel like you know better than everybody else, you won't be able to actually grow in any way, spiritually, mentally, financially, physically. And a big part of that goes back to self-sabotaging is because that cap, like that limiting ourselves stems from feeling like maybe we aren't deserving. If we need to ask the question, then we don't know and somebody's going to think we're dumb. Like, no. There are so many people who know things that you don't know, and they had to ask those questions along the way in order to gain that knowledge. As always, I thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you were able to gain something from this, something that helped you see yourself a little more clearly, something that helps you shift your mindset and changes the way that you show up for yourself today and into the future. Please share your thoughts in the comments. I actually really do love hearing what you guys have to say, reading your comments, and the way that you pour into me and allow me to pour into you. I really do appreciate that. So see you in the next one. Bye.